This year we're at 3.5 million ARR.
Hello and welcome to Funnel Masters, the show where top marketers expose the inner workings of their sales process and share their best takeaway tactics so you can replicate it for yourself. I'm your host, Andy Fletcher, and today's Funnel Master is responsible for one of the most impressive paid traffic funnels I've ever encountered. He scaled it to over 3.5 million ARR in just 5 years, has over 150,000 users, and has done it all with a software funnel that starts at just $27 one time. Here to tell you all about it is Funnel Master, Paul Clifford. Hey Paul, welcome to Funnel Masters. Thanks for joining us.
Hey Andy, thanks for inviting me. I've decided to do this.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, even if you are a traitor that left for the States, I still love you, man. Excellent. Let's, in true Funnel Master style, let's dive straight in. Tell me what the funnel, what is it you sell?
Right, sure. So, our product's called Designrr, and it's design with 2 R's, which a lot of people seem to be doing nowadays. But so Designrr.io, and essentially Designrr is a tool that helps our customers create ebooks from their content. So it does the design part of raw content, and it does that by importing content from your blog, Word document, Google Doc. It will even take like a video, YouTube video, transcribe it, and take the screenshots of the YouTube video and put it into your ebook as well. So you'll take all that content, apply a really good looking template to it, and then you can publish that out as a PDF ebook, an online ebook, or a Kindle book or something like that. So that's essentially what the product is. And we launched that in 2016, and so we're now up to just under 150,000 customers over the time. So yeah, it's doing all right. It's doing all right and growing nicely.
That's absolutely fantastic. Have you got to say, so is that 150,000 people have bought at least the front end?
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Have you got an annual recurring revenue figure you can share with us as well?
Yeah. So we have a pricing model which is split between lifetime and recurring. So we use the lifetime one-time payment type model to get people into the funnel and sort of pay for the traffic, and then we sell them the recurring model up from that. So we do well. This year we're at 3.5 million ARR. So that's recurring. But when you add up the lifetime, we're at about 6 million. So
that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, yeah. I've seen inside this funnel, like personally, and the numbers blow me away every time I look at it. So let's dig into it a bit. Can you walk me through the funnel then in a bit more detail? Like, what are the price points? What are the rough conversion rates we're talking about? What are the different steps you've got?
Sure. So we position it as a low ticket front end offer, because our funnel works really, really well with cold traffic. Okay, and so we price it at $27.
Everyone listening on this call has just gone like so jealous hearing those words that it works well on cold traffic.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If you can get your product working on cold traffic, then you can scale. And not only that, if you can get your return on ad spend really quick, so within a week or within a few days, then you can really scale. Okay, so because you can make decisions quickly, you can invest more in the traffic and so on. So that's the key. And just to come back to the funnel, the funnel is $27 on the front end with a bump. So a bump is something that you can just add to the cart as you're checking out, an optional extra, if you like. And then after they've bought the main product, then they can upsell to a pro or a premium edition, and those are priced at $97 or $297 a year. Okay, so though that's where the recurring money comes from. and they, overall, our upsells convert at 30%. So that's kind of split to, the pro converts at something like 22, 23, something like that, and the premium at about 7. And obviously it varies, week to week, month to month, depending on how Facebook and Google and the rest of the paid traffic funnels or companies are feeling. So.
But that's amazing. So it's $27 on the front end, and then you're
Yeah.
converting 30% of those into an annual recurring plan,
Right.
split across those two.
Right. Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
What's the price point on the bump sell, and what's that?
So the bump is like 37 at one time, and that converts at around 20%. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So literally 1 in 5 people that like came for a $27 ebook creator like immediately give you an extra $37.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I think that optionality is the key, because people, you know, obviously they have the choice, right? But the fact is that it's quite a compelling offer. It's content for Designrr. So it's, if you've already got your content, you don't need it, right? But a lot of people do want it. So yeah, it does
Excellent.
quite
So
well.
where do they go after OTO1? What else is in the funnel?
So so the way we position it is, and with all funnels, you have to have like an ascension style pricing. You know what I mean? It's important to understand that, out of, a whole batch of customers, let's say you got 100 customers, you must remember that like 20% of those will always buy the next price point higher. And out of that 20%, another 20% will buy the next price point higher. And then another 20%. So, you can position offers all the way up to, I don't know, whatever, $10,000 if you like. There'll be someone, who's ready to buy, at that price point. So all you've got to do is make the offer compelling enough and ensure you have offers to meet those price points. And so, from the way we deliver that in a funnel is, we market the pro first, the $97 a year first. And then from there, they then have the option to take the $297 option, right? But the $297 option, if they take that, it replaces the pro. It replaces.
Oh, I see. So
$97.
they're sorry,
Yeah.
I've even seen inside this funnel. I'd forgotten that. So
Yeah.
it's not like 97 and 297 on the same page. It's one then the
Right.
other.
Right. Exactly. Which makes sense from a mindset perspective, because you're kind of selling a plan, you're selling a SaaS subscription plan. So it doesn't make sense to kind of have two plans, right? A pro and a premium. That wouldn't work, right? So you have to kind of replace it. But it also delivers on, the price segmentation I just talked about, right? And the other thing, is we also sell Convertry as well. So, we partnered up, and a lot of our customers are building funnels, they're building landing pages and things like that. So, we sell Convertry to those customers as well.
Yeah, full disclosure, Paul is our second biggest reseller of Convertry, and rapidly gaining on number one. Cool.
Well,
so
I want to know who number one is now.
number one is a guy called Stuart Ross, who runs Six Figure Mentors and Digital Business Lounge.
Right. Cool.
Who's also a British marketer. We do quite well in the British space for some reason. Cool. Back to the bit that the listeners are interested in, rather than
Sure.
me being proud of stuff. So what's in the $97 package, and then what's in the $297 package? What makes each one compelling?
So fundamentally, it's more features. Okay. So there's no point me going into the specifics, but it's it's basically more features like publishing to Kindle and things like that, and then the premium includes more transcription options, so you can actually do the transcription from video and audio. So it's great for podcasters and things like that. And we'll also be rolling out audiobooks into that premium segment as well, so people can actually publish and create audiobooks. But it's from a SaaS perspective, it's like a hybrid model. So they also get more templates, and by hybrid, I mean that you're delivering more features and you're delivering more capacity, like templates, or more benefits from that perspective. Does that make
Excellent.
sense? Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So how did you develop this funnel? Where did the idea come from? Like, how did you go about building it?
Well, the product idea came from um, you know list building. Okay, so back in, I don't know, 2014, 2015, we were with one of our other products. We were growing our list, and one of the best ways to increase subscribers or get a better opt-in rate to your blog is to deliver what they call a content upgrade. So a content upgrade is like a downloadable something that's directly relevant to the content that the person's reading. And it comes down to this like save it mentality. People read something and think, oh, that's really interesting, I must save that for later. And so the logic says that, like, if you offer them an ebook, which is basically that same blog post but as an ebook, which means they can download it in exchange for an email address, then they've kind of they've got the endorphin rush. They've saved it, so they know they'll come back to later, and of course you've got their email address. So that process is called the content upgrade, and we tested that quite a lot, and we found it converts really, really well. It converts like 8 times better than a normal lead magnet just on a site
Oh, wow.
blog.
I actually didn't know that part of this story.
Yeah, it's huge. So we started then taking all our blog posts, putting them in, copy and pasting them into Word, and then like doing layout and stuff, and putting graphics in, and headers and footers and things like that. But it's taken forever. And so I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could actually just take that blog post and turn it into an ebook automatically? And the problem we had, of course, is that a blog post, a web page is just full of other stuff that you don't want in an ebook. You've got your navigation, you've got your social stuff going on, your all your copyright stuff, and and ads, tons of ads. So we developed this technology where we can actually find the article on the page, extract it. So basically, what comes into our tool is just the raw blog post, just the raw text. And so, I came up with this idea, and I thought, well, why don't we just turn this into a tool? We wrap this technology into what is now Designrr, so that you can just take a blog post and pull it in, apply a template, and you get an ebook out the other end. And so, that was the core product. And then because of that, we could create lead magnets really, really quickly. And that was the position we sold, or the angle we sold to customers when we launched. And of course, it just then expanded into, well, why not create any ebook? You don't have to import from a blog post. You've probably got content in a Google Doc, in a Word document, right? And various other sources. And so, we just expanded the technology to be able to do the same thing, from other content imports, and then also expanded the publishing options, and so not just a PDF, but, to Kindle and, EPUB and all the other sort of output formats as well. So, that's how it evolved. And when we actually launched, we did an affiliate sort of driven launch back in 2016, and it really, really took off. So obviously we thought, right, we've really hit it, and this is something that has a broad market appeal, and and it definitely solves a real problem, not just our problem that we were dealing with.
That's really cool. Do you remember how big the launch was back in 2016? Do you have a fancy number for us?
Do you know what? I shouldn't I? That's the one thing. Like, that's so long ago. I don't. I mean, it did well. I cannot remember the exact number that. And you know what? It wasn't that important, because I thought, well, this is great. So now I've got a product that has a broad market, and it converts, and so I thought, well, let's see if we can make that work with paid traffic. And what's funny, right, is that we couldn't make it work, because what I did naturally is, I studied everyone else's paid traffic methodologies and processes and things, and everyone's doing, basically, all you need is leads, right? So you're sending all paid traffic to like an opt-in page and just trying to get the lead, put them in a nurture sequence, and then sell them your product, right? And so we tried all sorts of lead magnet, opt-in page angles, just a ton of different things. And we were losing money rapidly. We couldn't get anything to convert. I mean, yes, people would buy it, but we couldn't get the return on ad spend that we needed. And so, after spending like 6 months playing with all these different funnels, free plus share, we had the whole lot going on. And I thought, well, why don't I just point my ads to the same funnel I launched on, like directly to the sales page? So in other words, I like a completely cold viewer coming to, a sales page. Would it sell? And I couldn't believe it. It just took off. It just sold straight from there, I'd love to say that I had some secret sauce, but no, it wasn't. It just started. it just started converting, and so the great thing then is we were getting a lot of cash back, like the same day, right? Which meant we could scale it really, really quickly. We can get all our Facebook testing done really, really quickly. We can find audiences, find who's buying it, who's not buying it, and scale that whole side really, really nicely. And so we did all that on Facebook, then took the same sort of principles to Google. And so on Google, we have search, AdWords, we have display, we have YouTube, all of those different traffic sources are all running all the time, as well as Facebook. But then obviously the trick then is that lifetime is a lifetime funnel, right? It was, when we launched, it was like a 27 to 97 to 197 one-time payment type thing, because that's how you did it back then as an affiliate launch.
Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously I wanted a recurring model, so that's when I started testing, doing the recurring, the 97, the 297 or 197. We played with a ton of different price points, and gradually got something working that was the right balance between cash, to liquidate the funnel to pay for the traffic costs, and a recurring sort of growing business, right? Because you only have a business when it's really growing in revenue. Other than that, it's just a tool, it's just a product. So yeah, that's when things really started turning. And when you have recurring working, then it's a lot easier. Then you see the numbers scaling, you can invest more in it, and that's where you see the long-term growth.
Excellent. What's the rough split between Facebook and Google, the various traffic sources, in terms of number of sales?
I think Facebook was always our biggest. We spend several million on Facebook, and we have spent several million on Facebook, and Google is obviously second. But we have all of it. We have Facebook, we have Google, we have SEO. We do a lot of organic. We rank for all the keywords that we need, and obviously affiliate traffic as well. Okay. And one little thing that's important to understand with SEO is that, the key to successful SEO is understanding what keywords convert, right? And when you test a load of cold traffic using AdWords, you will find out which keywords actually generate the most sales. And those are then the keywords that you orientate your whole SEO strategy towards. Yeah. Because, SEO is a long game, right? It takes, months to years to build enough authority in your site to actually get it to rank properly, especially nowadays. So the beauty of AdWords is you can find out which keywords are getting you the sales really quickly and invest in that in the SEO, and that's where you get the free traffic and the success at the end.
That's fantastic. There's a top tip for anyone listening.
Yeah.
Um, so what's the single biggest win you had while developing this funnel?
Well, actually, that I guess that was it. You know, the where we literally took that traffic and pointed to it. You know, there's almost two things, right? So there's that, and I think getting the recurring working. Yeah. Once you get the recurring working, then you've got something that you can invest in and grow on.
Makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Then I've got to ask the obvious follow-up question. What's the single biggest mistake you made?
I think being a tech entrepreneur, I think you'll agree with this, it's creating features that people don't need.
I've got
We're really, really good at it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that would be so cool if we did that and put it out there, and people just aren't using it. It's just not something.
Yeah. Or even worse, like a few of them are using it, because then you can't even take it away again.
Right.
But
right.
it's only like 7 people.
I know. It's I am the world's best person at creating complication. I now have people in my team who like I've specifically hired just to they are the ones who do the design now. Yeah. They are the ones who focus on simplicity and usability. Don't get me involved in that. I just come up with the great ideas. I need people to shut me down,
And just be like, no, Paul, back in your corner. Go on, just go run some more ads. It'll be fine.
Exactly.
Cool. So where are you taking it next? What's the next steps for Designrr?
Well, I think from, obviously from a product perspective, all we're doing is focusing on improving the product. Usability is the biggest issue with any SaaS product, and getting people to come in cold with a preconceived idea of what they want to do, and then enabling them to do that, is actually quite hard, right? So that's something we're continually doing. We're investing in that heavily. We're investing in a completely revamped template model, which will take things from a design perspective to the next level. So you can actually get like really stunning professional level ebooks that have never been seen before, using our content. Using our tool. So from product perspective, that's always what we're focusing on, because all of those things reduce, our churn rates, and churn rate is how people drop off, right? And then from a funnel and pricing perspective, we really want to get to, our next goal is the 10 million a year mark, and to get there, we're looking at testing different pricing models. So, as I said before, our pricing model is kind of functional based, right? So, you pay more, you get more features. All the data in the market, in the SaaS market, says that, if you really want to scale, you have to price more on usage, So they call that value metrics or outcome based metrics. So we really want to do more testing around that. So, a value metric, for example, in Designrr is like, more templates, more pages in an ebook, more ebooks, right? It's all about more volume instead of more features. So that's something that we really, really want to test and evolve, and and then building more products outside of the core that we can still sell. Okay, so these are cash generators. Yeah, so putting more stuff to increase the AOV, the average order value, because the higher you can get that, the more you can pay for traffic. So that's what we're sort of focusing on at the moment.
Excellent. Okay, so moving on to the next bit, much shorter segment. What's your takeaway tactic? What's something actionable somebody listening to this right now could go and do to their funnel to really improve it?
I got. So you asked me this question beforehand, so I was trying to think, like, what's the main thing? And there isn't. So I haven't got like one. I got a few. Okay, so and this is directed to people just creating funnels and people just creating software. But first of all, ensure that whatever you're launching, whatever product you have, has a lot of eyeballs, right? Check that there is a ton of traffic. It's got wide appeal, because if you go really, really too narrow, then your pricing has to be a lot higher just to make that work. And if you get more volume, so if you go for a broader market sort of product, you get more traffic, which makes it easier to test stuff, right? So you remember, when we were testing things in Convertry, it's a lot easier to make changes to sales pages because we can see the results after a week. We're split testing continually different sales pages, and you get instant results, which makes you or enables you to make decisions really, really quickly. So that, I think that's an important one. I think, secondly, stick to the common price points. I think a lot of people who are on your show and a lot of people in the launch market, you'll see that they're always using price points that work, and they do work, right? Don't go out of that box. All you got to do is work out what value you're going to deliver for that price point, and that will affect your conversion rate. Yeah. But don't sort of mess around with pricing, because it's just, why make things more complicated? There are so many moving parts in any funnel. Yeah. That what you've got to really do is just reduce the things that yeah, so that you can really focus on the unknowns and to make the whole thing work.
And it stops all the second guessing as well. Like I remember earlier on in my career, I'd always try and create the price point for myself. And then I'd spend the entire time, up to and even after launch, going oh, was that the right number? Should I change it? Should I not? And it's seriously, 1,000 people have already done this. Just do what they're doing, it'll be fine.
I know. You always think you're smarter, but you're not, right?
Yeah.
Just do what other people are doing. I think so. Another takeaway, actually, I mentioned this earlier. Make sure you have enough offers in your funnel at the different price points. And by the way, you don't have to sell these in the funnel itself. You can still sell it after. But this 20% rule I talked about, where 20% of the people who buy your initial purchase will buy the higher ticket product, and 20% of those will buy the next price point, and 20% of those will buy the next price point, etc. So make sure that you're thinking about that when you're creating your funnel, not just for the initial funnel, but what you might sell them afterwards. Yeah. Because that's how you'll really make money. So that's number 3, right? I think don't get remember that if you're doing software, recurring is where the money is, the big money. But lifetime or one-time pricing is crack cocaine. Yeah, it's addictive because it's easy, right? Anyone can sell lifetime because that's what the market wants. They all want a lifetime deal. But you and I know that lifetime buyers don't actually use the product, right? They're buying it. Some of it is like the save it mentality, right? They're buying it thinking, I will use it at some time in the future, which is great for cash. It's not great for a growing business. So, if you can do recurring, where you get this balance right between, what is a lifetime and what's recurring, and you're able to liquidate your traffic really early on, so pay for traffic really, really early on, that's the key. And so the idea is that, or my concept is that, if you can get your price point low enough that generates enough cash, that you get volume through that front end, and they see the upsells, because the upsells is where the money is, right? So you don't want to price too high on the front end. Yes, you might generate more money, but you get less eyeballs on the rest of the funnel, right? And that's the key thing. You need more people to see, the other offers that you've got in the funnel. That's number 4. I think the other thing I made some notes here. So always be testing, right? It's like we continually have tests going on all the time, right? We have different, obviously, sales pages. We're always testing ads. Ads. You won't get anywhere in ads if you're not testing. But we actually have also 2 completely separate funnel tracks running all at the same time. So we've got our traffic divided 50-50 because we're testing each upsell as well. So just one little tweak, because it's amazing what you think will convert doesn't necessarily convert. I added some to one of my cart pages. I added some more trust logos, like Review Trust, like Trustpilot and all that sort of stuff, thinking that that's obviously going to convert better. And ran a test for that, and it didn't. It just didn't convert better. And I'm scratching my head, but the data tells me.
Was it like even conversion, or was it literally worse conversion with the trust labels?
It was slightly worse, and I think what I think is it was dominating the page too much. It was too obvious, because it's quite a big logo, not necessarily in size, but in terms of color and all that. And a lot of people have a lot of distrust nowadays, especially with cold traffic, because everyone thinks it's, when you're pricing something at $27, everyone thinks it's a scam, right? So, you think the obvious solution was to put that in, but it just didn't work.
If anything, it made them consider that it could be a scam even more.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So we're working out some other solutions, but essentially, the key lesson in that is just never assume. Never ever assume. You've got to rely on the data. And then, like, another one's like, don't rely on one traffic source. So you need to keep, once you've got one traffic source working, move on to the next one. Don't sit back, right? And we have Facebook, Instagram, we have AdWords, we have display, we have YouTube, we have Twitter, we have affiliates, we have SEO. Yeah. And so all of those are working to some degree, and it's, and I spend, more time each month on a different one, so I'll say, right, this month, let's focus on, the SEO. Another month I'll focus on affiliates. It's, you have to keep them all going, because one of them will fail you at some point. And so, yeah, and having that balance gives you, more strength, as a product and as a funnel. So that's the key thing, really. Those are my takeaways. I think, as a solo SaaS founder, you got to think of it as like you're playing a game of chess against someone, right? And all you're doing is just moving these pieces forward. It could be traffic, it could be SEO, it could be affiliates, it could be product improvement, usability, support. And so all you need to do every day is just keep moving your pieces forward to get to the other side of the board, without you just got to stay in the game without losing, and that is how you'll win, right? So
excellent.
That's my little nugget for the day.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And also thank you very much for letting us include a simulation of the funnel in our upcoming simulatory product that we're releasing in November. I really do appreciate it. And I know everyone watching will enjoy playing with that.
Yeah, I can't wait for that, actually. So we're totally on board with that. It's an awesome product. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
Cool. Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good to see you.
Thanks for watching Funnel Masters. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.